When we listen to our desires, they lead us to our destinies. That much I promise you. Well, good morning, my sweet. How are you? Buenos dias from Mexico. Not that you would know this, but this is a take 2 from me. I started this podcast yesterday, and I'm not a big drama person about Mercury in retrograde, but it was having some drama with me yesterday. My goodness. Anyways, recording shut off like 4 times. I had all my do not disturbs on, but Glenn called in the midst of it and interrupted, and it got through. Anywho, we don't let imperfections in life stop us from being queens now, do we? So today is a new day. I didn't force myself to push it out yesterday and make it happen. I just, after all of the disruptions, I wasn't feeling in the flow. So I went to the beach. My friend Terry Cole is joining me this week, and we had a lovely lunch and a beach walk and swam in the pool and got our toes in the sand and had a really great day instead of letting myself be frustrated and irritated. And sometimes we just need to let things be. But today, like I said, is a new day, coffee in hand, and here we are together. So hello, for those of you that are on the journey with me regularly. I know it has been a hot minute. It's been a week and a half since I think I've posted a podcast, and it's been 2.5 weeks since I've posted like a real day in the life one, not a throwback one, because I was at my own retreat a couple weeks ago. And here I am back and refreshed to pour into you. And it is so important as women that we prioritize ourselves, it's never convenient for me to take time off for myself. It's, investing in oneself. It's a necessity. It's like you take a shower every day, you brush your teeth every day, you invest in yourself. And we have got to take time for ourselves as well. And I am so glad I did, because yes, there were some new things that I learned. There were some new people that I met. But most importantly, I got reminded of truth that I create my reality. And that, I'm just going to stop there. If you're listening to this podcast on a regular basis, you probably, like me, throw that term out a lot. And today I want us to anchor into how much truth is there and how much we get to apply that to creating our dream lives. And, I got to tell you, I myself am stuck in a number of places in my life. I have been talking to friends and family members who are in any range from stuck to dark night of the soul places. And I say this to compassionately remind ourselves, just because we know we can create a reality, or that we do create a reality, doesn't mean we've mastered it yet. Doesn't mean we're applying it in the different areas of our life yet. So to the degree that you are heartbroken, distraught, feeling hopeless, or just mildly bummed out, depressed, bored with your life, job, marriage, whatever, I think you're going to really, really enjoy what is in store for you here today. So, my love, let's just get you into a quiet, comfortable place. Why don't you just take a big inhale and a big exhale. And together, let's align with the creator of the universe and align with the creator within us to create our own reality. So let's pray. Dear God, hi, we are here. We are here, open-hearted, open-minded. Maybe some are a little tired or very weary, but we are here. And we are here seeking you. We're seeking your guidance. We're seeking your direction. We're seeking your clarity. We're seeking your miracles. We're seeking your abundance. We're seeking your breakthroughs and the victory. And we remind ourselves in this moment that with you, not on our own, but with you, all things are possible. And this beautiful world that we live in has just brainwashed us with a lot of teachings that are counter to your truths. And we've been taught that we have to figure it out. We've been taught that we have to work really hard. We've been taught that we can't have what we want. We've been taught that things aren't going to work out. We have our own memories of times in the past when something occurred that was not of our conscious doing or creating or desires. But we remind ourselves that today is not that day or those days, and that we are fresh here with you in the incredible, awesome, beautiful, powerful present moment. And it is in the present that everything exists. It is in the present that all is well. It is in the present moment with you that we are whole. It is in the present moment with you that we have everything we need, that we are fully worthy. And we seek what's glorious about the present moment. Being here with you, claiming our desires, owning them, impressing them in to our own energetic field so that we are vibrating what we desire, not what we fear, what we don't want, what we don't like, and what's happened in the past. In this moment, we visualize our desires, maybe even just one. Hold one desire in your mind and then drop it into your heart. Then I want you to see it and feel it as already done. It doesn't matter how much you've tried and it hasn't worked out. It doesn't matter how impossible it seems. It doesn't matter how much you think this will never happen for you. Today is a new day. This is a new moment. And we open ourselves up and get ourselves out of our old way of being and into the present moment where all things are possible, where we claim and declare and speak truth over our lives. That this love, this power, this abundance, this support, this clarity, this breakthrough is available to you. And God, we claim this for each and every one of us, and we claim it with your power and your spirit. We claim the miracles, your miracles that can and will flow through us as we continue to believe and continue to have faith the size of a mustard seed and continue to not make our decisions and our judgments or our feelings or actions be based on what we see with our human eye. Doesn't matter the way the external world looks, but we look within and we see all things new. We see that desire whole in us, filled with light, having come to complete fruition. And we pray this believing, amen. Boom. Feeling more empowered already. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay. So we create a reality. We create a reality, and we get to create it in every area of our life. It doesn't mean we have to create it in every area of our life all at the same time. There's an area of your life that you're working on. I don't know about you, but I just don't want to work that hard in my life these days. So I'm not going to overload myself. I am choosing to be focused. There are particular desires that I have. I have more than one, just like you, that has not come through to completion, just like in your life, that have been in me a really long time, just like you. And I find that I am able to harness and hone my power in a way that isn't frantic when I hold one desire clearly in my heart. I focus with my brain on one desire. I have this one desire in my energetic field, knowing that if I focus on this desire, it being in connection and commune with God on it until it comes through to fruition. I've personally become a lot less attached to my own arbitrary deadlines. And if it's the desire, I'm going to see it through to completion. If you have a child that is, I don't know, supposed to be walking by a particular age, and the child isn't walking, are you not going to help your child until your child gets to a place of walking? Whether it takes months or years, it doesn't matter. You're not going to give up on that. You're going to keep speaking truth into your child's life. You're going to keep believing for the miraculous healing. You are going to speak love and strength and power into your child until that happens. And this is, as women, what we must do for ourselves. We must continue to get really great at speaking truth over our lives and being the vibrational match of what it is we desire. And because this is the key to law of attraction, doesn't mean you take no action steps. It just doesn't mean you start with the action steps. So I'm holding up one particular desire in my heart and in my mind. I'm emotionally connected to it. I see it as the double blessing Spirit intends for it to be. That this coming to complete and total manifestation in my life will bless me abundantly, beautifully, powerfully. And for the others involved, we'll do the same for them. So I don't want you to feel squeamish about making this declaration over your life. This is not a selfish desire. Whatever desire you have, I don't care how materialistic it looks. I do not judge any true desire as unspiritual. They're all spiritual to me. If you want a pair of Jimmy Choos, if you want your child healed from a disease, if there's a certain amount of money you desire in your life, you want to call in your soulmate, you want to heal a marriage, they're all. If it's a true desire, I don't know what your destiny is. And you might not either, but when we listen to our desires, they lead us to our destinies. That much I promise you. And if I would have judged all my desires along the way, I wouldn't have gone for 93% of them. And I wouldn't be on the path to my destiny in the way that I am, because I leaned into them, because I trusted them, because I didn't rely exclusively on logic. And even though the feminine intuition instinct can seem so counterintuitive and so impractical and even crazy at certain times, I love that I take gambles on me. I love that I take risks on my intuition. I love all the times in my life that even when it seemed so impractical and downright crazy, that I trusted and had faith and said yes, and saw on the other side of what society would judge me as being irresponsible or whatever, I saw the glory of God alive and well in my life. If you want the specifics of a lot of these stories, I've written about them in my book. Many of them, there's too many to I don't know, I'll have to include it in the next book. The Audacity to Be Queen. We can put a link in the show notes for you. And not every decision I've made, not every action step I've taken, though at the time I thought was divinely guided or inspiration, I could see later where it was me, or it was ego, or it was me forcing things. But I love that I said yes to those things also, because they weren't mistakes in the way that society would judge them or some women judge themselves. It was information that today helps me get clearer on, is that me? Is it God? Is it my voice? Is that spirit leading me? Is it a yes? Is it a no? And just like you have to undereat to know what it feels like to feel hungry, and you have to overeat to know what it feels like to feel stuffed, you also have to have both of those experiences to know, or to be more clear on, how much is the right food for you? Because it's not what's meant for us to be undernourished or overstuffed. But if you haven't had the experience of knowing yourself and what's right for you, then you wouldn't necessarily know what just the perfect amount of food is for your body. And so it's fine to have had the experience of feeling hungry or feeling overstuffed. We just don't want to repeat those experiences. We want to learn from them. So I've seen times in my life where I've underspent money and I've overspent money. I've spent money in areas that, like, was a lack-based thought, so I didn't spend the money. Or it was like a binge, like a fear-based thought also, but in a different way, on spending too much money. And that's how I know now how to be in right alignment with money. And I do the same thing with my time. I used to underestimate time, overestimate how long something would take to do. And those are all beautiful, because now I have such a healthier relationship with time. And you got to give yourself permission to make mistakes. You got to give yourself permission to discover what's too little and what's too much and what's just right for you. This process of spending time with ourselves, investing in ourselves, knowing ourselves, prioritizing ourselves, this is actually what will change the world. Because when women are centered, grounded, confident, and know themselves and are spiritually connected to the divine, boom, we have clarity and insight that literally will change the trajectory of the future of this planet, of future generations, of our own lives. This is what changes the world. But women who are deprived of sleep, deprived of time, deprived of money, deprived of a sense of self, deprived of having the tools and the skills to make excellent decisions on behalf of yourself, to know what the right relationship is for you, to know what the career path is for you, or the purpose, or the decision to make in motherhood, all of that stuff. It doesn't come from giving to everyone else and being busy all the time. It comes from a nourished soul. So you and me, sister, we got to do more of what nourishes our soul. And in my experience, that means doing less and being more quiet, being more conscious, being more in tune, being more present in relationships, being more connected to those desires and trusting them. I've accomplished so much more in my, hashtag slow living life that I've been adopting over the past, more and more so. I've always created wealth based on feminine principles. I was never one to work 6 or 7 days a week. I never, worked 12 and 15 and 18 hours a day. And I do see how I relied on a lot of my wealth creation, a lot of my ability to create in terms of the empire that I've created for me in the world. I relied more on my masculine energies than really drawing the experiences to me. And so right now I'm playing probably with a, 80-20% ratio. 80% of really being in my desires and being happy and making time for my body, my relationships, my friendships, my well-being, my reading, my meditating, journaling, walking. And 20% on action that feels really good. Like, I love hosting this podcast, and it is my great honor that of all the podcasts in the world that you show up and, my prayer is that you get something out of mine. The reason why, if you're on my list, I don't even know what people call it, newsletter, mailing list, we call it Gina's journal, because that's exactly what it is. You get a journal entry sent to you when I'm in the mood. No longer am I just sending out promotional mailers and doing launches and challenges and all of that. So I couldn't anymore. I don't know about you. But I write when my heart has something to say. And sometimes that's 3 times a week, or sometimes it's once a month. Kind of like my podcast distribution. This world doesn't allow for so many of the feminine arts. And let me tell you, sister, spontaneity is one of them. Being in the moment is one of them. And I've just given myself permission to get, when I first started my podcast, which was great and fine, we did one solo cast a week and one interview a week. And we had our system and our launch and our agency and our graphics and the whole thing. And I just got, and everybody and everything about it was great, except I felt boxed in. And when I gave myself permission, I was like, this is my business. This is my podcast. And whoever wants to, what are they saying on Instagram these days? If this is your vibe, then I want to be your friend. Like, if you like rolling with this, then here we are and here we go. And all the pre-planning, I love being around other women who trust the divine and their instincts and flow as well. So, normally if I'd go somewhere just to make sure I get to like the restaurants I want to go to and all that, I'd, pick out the epic, places and make the reservations and all of that. And when Terry Cole and I were planning this week, I was like, hey, Terry, I said, are you cool to just go with the flow? Like, is there anywhere you want to go? We'll make the reservation. Or do you just want to like see what we feel like eating and when and at what time? And if there's a spa appointment available, then we do it. If not, we go play in the ocean. Like, what? And she's like, absolutely. And it feels so, I just feel so natural. It feels so good. It feels so free. So things that I do to keep my vibe high, to create my reality. I'm way less scheduled these days. I mean, my poor team, they're like, Gina, are we having a meeting today? I'm like, only if I'm in the mood. Why have a meeting just to have a meeting? And you look at, I'm a Capricorn. I'm not averse to some kind of structure and container and routine. And a queen is not all feminine. She's the masterful blend of the masculine and the feminine. So the masculine containers of life are beautiful if they are in service to the feminine and not the other way around. If your job or your business or your career is in service to your calling and your purpose and your passion and you thriving in the world, then fantastic. Go do that and be that and love that. But if your job or your business or your relationship have gotten, or life have gotten, or social circle, gotten wonk, investigate. Because back to, we get to create our reality. And what happens when we forget that and we unconsciously or even consciously, at first, it's probably conscious. It's like we say yes when we want to say no. We say no when we want to say yes. And like, oh, it's not a big deal, or I'll do it for that person, or I have to, or I feel obligated, or I couldn't say no, whatever the thing is. But then that conscious overriding of our desires starts to become a habit. And habits become patterns. And patterns turn into autopilot. And autopilot has us go unconscious. And we're unconscious. We're disconnected from our soul and the source and everything that's unique about us and everything that would have us feel passionate and thriving in life and abundant and generous and safe and all of the fun that we're supposed to have. And then, I've worked with women for 20 years and women wake up overweight with a diagnosis, in a miserable marriage, in a life-crushing divorce circumstances with kids, like where it's just pressure. And that's not even the worst part. The worst part is to the degree that women suffer silently because we've been so conditioned and told, just handle it. Just you have to figure it out. You can't tell anyone. You're going to look weak. You're going to look needy. You're going to look whatever. Stop this. Stop it for yourself. Stop it for who you engage with. And have real conversations with people. And if you don't have those people in your life or know where to do that, come to any of my programs, because you're going to see some really real relationships, some thriving dynamics that are not with perfect people. P.S. I've met them. I can say that about them and me. But we're real, and that just drops the guard so that there's so much freedom. The reason why I'm in Mexico is I'm hosting one of my Own Your Throne mastermind retreats, and the women get 3 retreats as part of their program throughout the year. I don't know who's looking forward to it more, me or them. Like the richness that goes on in these luxurious rooms and these beautiful settings. It's such a rich experience and relationship. And I'll tell you what else it is. Transformational. We're not just processing and talking about the same stuff every 3 or 4 months. There are significant shifts that take place as a result of a woman prioritizing herself, putting herself in the room, getting out of any fear or insecurity, like, well, what would I contribute or do? Or like, I don't belong there. The women that come to my programs, they might not start out feeling that confident or knowing that they belong. It doesn't take but 90 minutes in the room the first time to get, oh, yes, I belong. I do belong here. And not because I'm warmly welcomed and included. I belong here because I drop my story of inferiority and insecurity and separateness. And I belong here because I say I belong here and I choose to belong here. And I create the experience of belonging. The vortex is helpful for that, but it's not responsible for it. Every woman who comes into my groups and has an experience of belonging, she deserves what she has created for herself. She deserves that successful experience because she owned it and claimed it for her. You don't get it just by being accepted into the program. You get it because you show up for yourself. So if you'd like to show up for yourself in a really beautiful, majestic, Renaissance kind of way, I want you to come join me for my transformation retreat in Tuscany, where you're going to get out of whatever the circumstances are. And trust me, we all have them. You're going to get out from behind your computer. You're going to get out of your house. You're going to get out of your neighborhood. You're going to get out of all the dynamics that are, look, you have a good life, or by world standards, a great life. But I can say this because I know women like us. There's something else. There's something around the corner for us post-pandemic that we're meant to discover. And I've created the Transformation in Tuscany retreats. These are standalone 3-day retreats where you get to come in to the epicenter of the Renaissance. Literally, when after 1,000 years of the Dark Ages, it was in this beautiful valley that all of the thriving began, spiritually, artistically, scientifically, economically, all of it. It's there. You cannot walk around those cobblestone streets of Florence or come to the boutique hotel where I'll be hosting this retreat. We'll go up to that rooftop bar that overlooks the Arno and the Ponte Vecchio. And we'll clink glasses of bubbly, whether it's sparkling water or Prosecco, you do you. What I can tell you is there's a transformation available for you. And it's up to you to seize it, to claim it for yourself, to say yes, to put yourself in the room. And even if you don't know exactly what it is, all the better. Because it leaves more room for me to work with you and way more room for the divine to dazzle you. And that is for sure what happens 100% of the time when women show up. And I'm not guaranteeing anything. What I have witnessed for 20 years is that when a woman shows up, even if it's like all she can do to just get herself into the room. If you show up with faith the size of a mustard seed, if you show up even hoping that there's something more for you, that your heart could heal, that there's another way for you to do life or live or thrive, you'll see it. You will see it in that room. You will see it take place. You will see the heavens part for you in whatever ways are your next steps. It's what happens. And I got countless women that can attest to that. And it doesn't have anything to do with me per se. We all have been given our own gifts. My gifts are in the form of transformational coaching. I have the ability to see things not as they are, but as they could be. If you've read my book, consider a retreat the live experience of the book, but customized for you in your life. So you can go to divineliving.com/Tuscany. These retreats are they're exclusive, they're small. This is not a large group program. So get yourself registered. We have June and September options. Excuse me. And say yes to yourself. You don't have to figure out what's on the other side of it. That's God's job. That's my job as a facilitator. Your job is, if this is speaking to you, if this is calling to you, if you're just like, there's got to be something else for me. There's got to be a breakthrough here. I can't just exist any longer. I've got to go for thriving in my life. Then come join us. If you're in a corporate setting that has you feel stifled, welcome to the club. If you're a successful entrepreneur that has an idea for something else, welcome to the club. If you're a stay-at-home mom that's exploring things for her family and her marriage, welcome to the club. I mean, like, we have every walk of life, ages, usually 30s through 70s show up. So don't say you're too young, you're too old, you're too anything. I'm telling you, there are single moms, all of it. Women are clearing their calendars and booking flights. And I want you to be the next one who shows up for you. Lots of love. Go to divineliving.com/Tuscany. And remember, we get to create our reality. And the way we show up today, the decisions we make, does exactly that. Mwah.